Getting all the little buttons going here. Good morning. It is a beautiful day, a beautiful summer day where I am, the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. We're outside today. It is so awesome. I love it. I can hear birds and of course some industrial sounds like leaf blowers and things like that. I hope they don't get too disruptive this morning. But it's just too beautiful outside to not be out here. And here comes a hummingbird to the feeder. I love them, so you may see me get distracted. Gotta stay present with all the magnificence that is showing up in the world for us to see every minute of every day. So hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining. I am so excited to talk about this subject because it is a big one for the times in which we're living. It's huge. It's huge on a personal level, like me with myself. It's huge on an interpersonal level with other people, with groups, with organizations, with the world at large. And it's really important from a collective consciousness and social consciousness perspective. And I don't know that we're taught how to do it. So this might be some fertile ground on which you can build for a long time to come, and maybe even share, and maybe even get into some contemplative, critical discussion about with those in your life who are wondering about the same things or noticing the same things. So again, I'm Valerie Shepard, coming to you from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery in Southern California. And we help people have more happiness, fulfillment, and success using the principles for life from a 4-step process that I lay out in my best-selling book, Living Happy to Be Me, Dancing Your Soul Light Style. I'm very excited about this book and the critical acclaim it's receiving, but also, most importantly, what I hear from the people who are using it to change their lives. That really touches me. You know, when you put something out there like that, it's a piece of you, like, going out into the world. And although I don't live for validation from positive feedback, it is nice to have it. And I've been getting lots of positive feedback, and it's been great. But self-mastery is using these principles to master yourself in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever your life brings your way. And our lives are designed to bring us all kinds of things, all kinds of things. We are conditioned, however, to do well with a certain kind of thing that shows up. And so we're going to talk today about this concept of the difference between judgment and discernment. Judgment and discernment. And self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love are all a part of this dynamic in this discussion. So, there's some car horns, more noise. So in this political climate that we're in right now, we've got all kinds of negativity and all kinds of finger pointing and dismissing and calling right and wrong and black and white. We've got all kinds of doom and gloom predictions about what's going on with the earth, what's going on with people, what's going on with healthcare. We have exposés telling us who's doing it right, who's doing it wrong, you know, what shouldn't be happening, what should be happening. And it's really easy, and I find this happening to myself, it's really easy to get into the space of the things I understand and the things I connect with and the things that I agree with. Those are the things that are right. And the things that I don't fully understand and I don't really connect with and I don't agree with, those are the things that are wrong. And then by extension, we make the people who are in this place where we understand it and agree with it, they're the right ones. And the people who understand and agree with something we don't understand and agree with, they're the wrong ones. And I see this happening all around us. And the question is, how is that serving us? Hi, Beauty. Thank you for coming. How is that serving us? Like how does that work? What I see in judgment, and the difference between judgment, we'll talk about some of the differences that I found in doing a search with teachers and others talking about this difference between judgment and discernment. And there's one major difference that I talk about from the place that I teach, from the teachings of love and oneness and peace, compassion, tolerance, harmony. That doesn't mean I don't notice certain things, right? But where I come from that space, one thing I notice about when I'm in a judging place versus when I'm in a discerning place is that judgment has some very specific characteristics, right? To me, judgment is all about separation. Like I'm using it to separate the good from the bad, the right from the wrong, the pretty from the ugly, the whether you're with me or you're against me. Like I'm using it to make draw some real hard lines in the sand. And if you're on that side of the line, you're out. And it's only on this side of the line where you're still in. And so judgment to me feels about control. It also, when I feel myself in judgment, what I feel is that the decisions I'm making are more driven on fear. I have to get really honest with myself to even make that statement. Like when I'm in judgment and I'm seeing you as the not worthy or the not me or the not important, I'm in a space of judging you from a place of my own fear about you or about myself relative to you or about what you might do or think or feel about me. It's all about judgment. It's all about fear, and it's all about maintaining my sense of stature, my sense of self, my sense of power in the world, maybe even in some cases about stripping you of the power that I feel coming from you. When I'm in judgment, I feel like I'm using things that are really about setting myself above, and not necessarily above as in egoic sense of you're not good enough, but above so that I have power and I feel safe. Like I really feel like judgment is about separating the safe from the unsafe. And what I can understand and agree with feels more safe. What I don't understand and don't agree with feels like I'm in jeopardy, feels like there's some lack of safety there. And well, obviously, you have trouble in a not safe position to claim your happiness, to like be anchored in that when we're being ruled by the lowest level of Maslow's hierarchy, right? Security, safety. So that's what I feel about judgment. It allows me to even go into a space of using words that I don't necessarily have the authority or the understanding to use. I'm just using them in order to maintain my power. Then I think about discernment, right? And I'm a spiritual teacher, and I live my life according to spiritual principles first. Like that is my commitment to self and my commitment to the planet and the people that I feel accountable to and who I'm trying to serve, who I'm here to serve. So discernment to me is the definition I saw for it. I saw several, but the one that really felt whole and true for me was perception in the absence of judgment, with a view toward getting spiritual guidance and understanding. And why do I feel like that's important? Because the spiritual realm encompasses this human realm, but it's bigger, it's broader, it's deeper, it's richer, it's more than what we can tell with our five senses. It's more than that. And so when I can discern from a level of a deep understanding, I feel like I'm bringing more of myself into the equation, and I'm allowing myself to have a much more rich experience of and understanding of everything and everyone else in the equation. So discernment an inner knowing sourced in deep spiritual truth. An intuitive knowing, like inner knowing, intuitive knowing, like an inner voice, not just the brain and its machinations around data or around what a learned person who's in a position of authority and power said or showed, but from within, my own inner voice of principle that aligns with my path, my purpose, and my inspiration. Discernment, like judgment, can change as we get a richer, more tried and true understanding of who I am in the world. What is my relativity to those around me in the world? And where is my true sense of power coming from? From whence is my power erupting? So discernment actually shares power. Discernment allows you to be powerful with your opinion, with your judgment, with your understanding. And it allows you to be a valuable source of information and understanding in my life. Even if we are polar opposites in our belief systems and our ways of handling things, even if there's no way I'm coming over to where you are, and no way that you're coming over to where I am. Discernment allows me to stay in a place of, okay, and even when I don't like using this word, but I know that I do this, even when I'm arguing my position, when I'm wanting you to very clearly hear me and understand what I want or what I see, what I know, what I value, what I don't want, what I don't like, what I don't see, even when that's happening. Discernment is about a both and equation, which is what I like about it more than judgment. Judgment is an either or. Either you come over to where I am or we're done. Either you come over to where I am or you're not showing, or you're showing me that you just really aren't worth it. You're never going to get it, and I don't like you, and I can't trust you, and you're not for me, and you're not going to be with me. Whereas discernment is about both and it allows me to go back to the highest ground, right? Which is gratitude, unconditional love, tolerance, harmony. It's like getting beyond this momentary, situational, circumstantial dynamic of potentially disagreement to the oneness, to the fact that we're both passionate about this topic. So that's something that we can share. And as deeply as we're passionate about it, we might learn from each other. That your point of view is valuable and that my point of view is valuable. I love this quote from somebody whose blog I was reading as I was looking at different perspectives on the difference between judgment and discernment. Her name is Alika Thorvaldsen, and she said this quote, "To live our very best life and our very best selves, we must embrace the difference. No time like the present is it more important to have solid boundaries grounded in our authentic values and stand up for them." Meaning, it's important for us to be able to discern what's right for us and to stand up for it, even in the face of those who are perhaps in judgment, perhaps also in discernment, who are standing up for something that is right for them, that works for them, even though it doesn't work for us. And the things that I would add to what Alika says is that to be able to do this in a beingness, right? Not in a doingness, but in a beingness. Be, do, have. I'm going to be in more peace. I'm going to be in more tolerance. I'm going to be a more harmonious contributor to the planet. I'm going to anchor myself in the energy of those high vibration experiences. My beingness firmly rooted in tolerance, compassion, and understanding. It's like a desire, a thirst for the connection that can be made between two discerning individuals. A colleague of mine who I have so much love and respect for, Satyen Raja, says, "We are all conscious beings of choice." We are all conscious beings of choice. And it's the discernment, that deeply rooted, intuitive knowing that gets beyond the mundanities of the human experience and beyond the five senses and the intellectual, hearing, seeing, thinking, feeling, beyond that, as a conscious being of choice, we can use discernment to determine what's right for us while we also allow what is right for others, and to come into a space where we can hold that sacred space of unconditional love, and be one, even while we are not one on a particular subject matter. And it just feels so important to have this message right now, because we, especially in the US, with an election looming, and Democrats, Republicans, independents, healthcare, all the different topics, and who's for and who's against, and unfortunately some really nasty stuff going around social media. Like, how do I stay happy in that? Some people are just turning it off, and that's okay. I am fine with turning it off, and I don't want to limit my life to only being places where there's not something that I disagree with. I want to be places where I can take my countenance and my energy and my joy and my peace and my love anywhere, and be anchored in that no matter what's going on around me. And that's the kind of happiness that I teach. So why am I talking about this? So that you, in the midst of a circumstance, even being on one side or the other, or just watching two sides argue it out, to be able to stay in a place of discerning what's right for you and being willing to be that, and being willing to experience what's going on, centered in peace, centered in acceptance. And the last thing I'll say on this is, sometimes people hear that word acceptance and they think it means I accept it and therefore I don't change it. And that's not what acceptance is about. Acceptance is detaching from needing it to be different in this moment. It is what it is in this moment. When we're talking about changing it for the future, that's not this moment. Fighting what is resistance, and it doesn't necessarily change what is. If we want to contribute to how it evolves in the future, then yeah, we can get on board and talk about where it needs to go, where we'd like to see it be, what's the vision of the higher, better planet, and higher, better interaction, and higher, better values and truths that we want to see lived out in our world. And we can be that and espouse it at the highest levels by being it ourselves, and creating a rippled effect out from the center of our chest, out from the center of our beingness, out from the center of our heart. So accepting that you are where you are, and discerning that that's not where I am, but still staying in the place of, I love you and I value you. And I understand that we're not at the same place right now, and that's okay. That's okay. So try this as you're experiencing everything that's coming up all over the planet right now. Try the staying in discernment. Try the, how do I get to discernment from judgment? How do I be more discerning and less judging? How do I be more inclusive and less fragmented and separate? How do I get out of this duality into a place of oneness, where I can live and breathe my own happiness, create a ripple effect into the planet, and still allow you to not be like me or agree with me? Really important. Many blessings. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for sharing. Many blessings. Happy Hump Day. See you next time. Bye. Button time. It's button time. Hitting all the buttons and turning things off. Bye now.